Hi, my name is Tax, and today I'll be telling you what do I do and why am I important. Tax is levied at the three levels of government: federal, state and territory, and local. Money collected through the tax system is called a revenue. At the federal government, approximately 80% of the total tax revenue are collected from income tax, goods and services tax, and company tax. While the state and territory governments annually collect approximately 16% of the total tax revenue from taxes such as payroll tax, land tax, and stamp duty. The remaining 4% of the total tax revenue is collected by the local government from property rates, rubbish disposal charges, animal licenses, and fines. There are different designs of taxes in Australia. Progressive taxes, such as income tax for individuals, flat taxes, like company tax, and regressive taxes, such as the departure levy on passengers at airports. Individuals that earn less than $18,200 a year, pensioners, religious, charitable, and educational organizations are generally exempted from paying tax. Most people would agree to get rid of the tax system, as paying no tax means they have more money to spend for themselves. Are the tax revenues or the money collected by the three levels of government really used to better the community? The answer is yes. They are used to support people who are unable to earn an income, such as pensioners, unemployed, and disabled. They are used to fund infrastructure such as buildings and roads. They improve the education system, healthcare systems, and defense such as the Australian Army and police.
Hi, I'm Lee from the ATO, and I'll be discussing what would happen if there's no tax in Australia. In fact, taxes are paid for a civilized society not only by funding forces and building infrastructure. They are funded practically everything that allows human beings to prosper. There are several consequences if taxation is not employed in Australia. Without a proper observed tax regime, nations will eventually fall into chaos and corruption. It is reported that the income inequality in Australia has risen for the past 2 decades, mainly due to tax avoidance and evasion. The situation will be worsened if taxes are being paid voluntarily or no one paid them. The gap between the poor and rich will be widened. That makes more bottom of Australians to struggle every day, while the wealthiest of Australians would have grown richer and richer. Thus, this will build up the poverty and inequality risk in Australia that leads to the failure of promoting efficiency and fairness. Furthermore, Australian government will be facing difficulties on funding forces, infrastructure, age pensions, and maintaining aged care services, if no taxes are collected. Consequently, depleted resources for childcare, aged care, education, housing, and healthcare will destroy lives and decrease the current living standard and quality. In other words, the community will suffer and pay in the end if no one pays taxes. The government is then required to borrow money from other countries to fund its spending, which eventually increases the foreign debt level of Australia. Since the government is not able to collect taxes as its revenue, it can only rely on other sources of income such as net exports. Therefore, the Australian economy will be affected and decline. It turns out that the community will suffer under the economic downturn. Taxes are collected in Australia to shape up a better community for the people. The Australian Taxation Office (ATO) has put its efforts on imposing penalties, sanctions, and stronger actions to prevent people from not paying the owed amounts on time. General anti-avoidance rules are imposed to prevent multinational companies from tax planning, avoidance, and evasions. Australians should be proud that we pay taxes for the good, as this is our contribution to the country, and we must be aware that paying taxes is not a burden to us.